all of the juicy stuff that is obviously what we're here to do. And again, we are super, super excited to show you, what Nancy and I have done and what we've been able to do over the last number of years to really grow and scale our business to where it is. And, obviously there's been ups, there's been downs. That's the way that entrepreneurship is. But the fact of the matter is, as long as we are moving forward in the right direction, that's what it's all about. So good to see people jumping on. Now, a couple things really quickly. We, as we always do, we have a private Facebook group where the homework assignments will be. And if you have not yet joined that Facebook group, I'm going to put it into the chat box really quickly. All you have to do is click on that and then request to join. There's about 50 or so people that are not yet in that group. If you click that link that I just put in there, that will allow you to join that Facebook group. The other thing is something that we wanted to make sure that everybody was getting all of the updates to everything that we're doing. We know that sometimes people don't see the stuff that's going out on social media. We also know, and I'm going to put in this one more time, that is the link to the Facebook group. And we know not everybody checks their emails as well. The one thing that we added in most recently, not for any other purpose, but to make sure that everybody is seeing the information, is we do have business texting just for the event. Nothing else. There's no spam text you're going to get after that. So basically, we give the text reminders. So if you want the text reminder, all you have to do, Nancy's going to type this into the chat box. All you have to do is text the number 55444. And all you have to do is text the word organize to 55444. And that will get you on the text chain just for this event. Any updates, any changes. And it's really, again, I know people aren't checking their emails all the time. They're not on social media all the time. Most people have these by themselves all the time. So it's just an added layer of us being able to connect with all of you. Now, just some general housekeeping before we dive into tonight's content. First and foremost, there's going to be a homework assignment or accountability assignment every single night. So there's going to be an assignment tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and the final one. Obviously, there's going to be a bonus day. For those of you that have never been a part of our workshops, we always do a bonus day 6, which is going to be this Saturday. We call it our happy hour session. It's from 11 to 12 EDT. So bring your coffee, bring your breakfast, your tea, whatever you want. And we're going to be doing 60 minutes of Q&A. So again, just make sure that you have the times down in your calendar. Monday through Thursday, we are 8 to 9 p.m. EDT. Friday, we are 5 to 6 p.m. EDT. And the bonus day Saturday is 11 to 12 EDT. If everybody is clear on those times and dates, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Now, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, it's okay.
You want to say hi?
No, I'm going to talk plenty
during
this training.
So that's the one big announcement. The other thing is that at the end of every night, there's going to be a pinned post to the top of the Facebook group. The top of the Facebook group, it's going to say Nancy's day 1 homework thread, and it's going to have the accountability assignment of what it is that we are to do for that specific day. The other thing is there's going to be a replay link that's going to be emailed out to everyone each morning, but also there's going to be the replay added right to the Facebook group in a guides section. Now, the replay link, just so you know, it's a page. So there's not a different link that's going to be sent every single time. All you have to do is access the same replay link every day, and you will be able to watch back day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and obviously day 6 now, which is Saturday. So if everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. And then the other announcement is the replays normally are only available for a couple of days, but we're actually going to leave them up for a week and a half. You have until the following Sunday, which is August 7th, to watch the replays. So you can binge all you want, as much as you want, until August 7th. Now, questions that people may have during the training. It is always best to either email a question that you're going to have for Saturday if you can't attend. If you can attend on Saturday, it's always best to save your question till then, because for those that have never been a part of any of our workshops, just drop a Y or a yes if you've been a part of our workshops before, or an N or a no if this is your first time learning from myself and Nancy. So we got a lot of yeses, a lot of returning people. I love seeing that. Seeing a couple new people. Awesome. Welcome to the new people. So on Saturday, it's from 11 to 12. It's 60 minutes of basically coaching with Nancy and myself. You can ask any and all questions that you want. The lid is off. You can unmute yourself and you can ask away anything that you learn over these next 5 days. Now, as you may have seen, there are prizes that we give away each and every day. So we have accountability homework winners, and then we also have Instagram winners. So for those that have been a part of this, you know how this whole thing works. For the newer people, all you have to do in the accountability assignment that you're going to see in the Facebook group, all you have to do is make sure that you complete your accountability assignment by 7:30 p.m. the next day. So you'll see it posted tonight. You just have it. You have to have it posted by 7:30 tomorrow night before day 2 to have it counted towards being one of the 2 homework winners. The other way that you can participate is if you post us on Instagram. So my handle is at Scott Aaron LinkedIn, and Nancy's is at the BYOB agency. So what you have to do is you grab your phone. You can do this right now as a practice, but also participate. Yep. All you have to do is take a screenshot of this training, and you got to just tag myself and Nancy, and you can tag us in an Instagram post or in your Instagram story. And you just have to do that before 7:30 tomorrow night. That's how the whole thing works. As long as you do the homework and as long as you do the Instagram challenge before 7:30 the next night, you are good to go to be counted towards being one of the 2 winners for each. So there's 4 winners every single night. So if everybody is clear on that, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Now, this is going to be a very, very meaty training. This is the first time that Nancy and I have ever trained on this. It's something that people were asking us to do, how people feel more disorganized than ever. People are scatterbrained. They're overwhelmed. They really want to know what it is that they need to do to move the needle of their business forward. And full transparency, Nancy and I have grown and scaled our business each of the last 4 years, achieving things that we really, not that we didn't think were possible, but we didn't know it could happen this fast. And we attribute that to how organized we have and continue to keep our business. And our goal by the end of these 5 days with all of you watching live and on the replay is to not have you just understand where the holes and the bottlenecks and the gaps may be in your business, but to make you productive right away. So literally understanding how everything should be organized so you are running full steam ahead. So if you're excited about all of that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Now, the workbook obviously has a lot of information in it as well. we're going to be parking, so to speak, on some of the slides because we really want to drive home certain points because we want you to start thinking differently about how you're looking at your own business. Sometimes you do need to take that 3,000-foot view of your business to really understand, oh man, this is why my business may not be growing the way that I want it to. So we want to give you guys unbelievable clarity on everything that you need to do. So again, I'm going to go over this housekeeping at the beginning of every session, just so everybody remembers. Now, just for some backup, what time are we meeting tonight through Thursday? Type it in the chat box. What time are we meeting tonight through Thursday? Yes, 8. What time are we meeting on Friday, our happy hour session? What time is our 5 o'clock? That's right. And what time is the bonus Q&A session on Saturday? Our brunch session, 11 EDT, 10 CST. Correct. What time does the homework need to be turned in and the Instagram challenge need to be done by before the next night? 7:30 p.m. EDT, always the night after to qualify for one of the 4 prizes. In regards to the prizes, they will always be emailed out to you after the workshop is done on Sunday. So you'll be hearing from us at the end of the workshop. So those who win one of the 4 prizes each of the 4 nights, obviously you will be hearing from us of how to claim those prizes. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, I am going to share my screen and we are going to dive in. So get your workbooks out. And again, I just want to make sure. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, so the workbook is actually going to be your homework. So it's not so much of a follow along or fill in the blank like we've done in the past for anyone who's been part of previous trainings. But what is going to be in your workbook is the homework, right? It's going to be the business assessment and the deep diving into different things in your business. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing that I want to mention as well is each day builds off of the next. Okay. So if you don't do the homework on day 1 and at least go through the assessment, you're not going to be really in line with everything that we're going to go over day 2 and 3, because we're going to pull all the pieces, right? Everything that we're doing is super, super intentional.
Yep. And thank you, Kelly. So if you registered for this event, you should have gotten a confirmation email that you were registered. And if you're opening any of our emails, as Kelly mentioned, it's in every single email that we sent. It's in the hour warning, the 30-minute warning, and the we're live right now. So that is where the workbook is.
Yep, you got it. All right. So we're going to kick it off. So, obviously for anyone who has not been on a training with us, really quickly, Scott and I have been doing this for years. For a long time, I was actually kind of behind the scenes in all the things that we did in our business. And I actually was a online business manager. I did a lot of project management behind the scenes for a lot of high level business owners and coaches and, real estate people, all kinds of stuff. So I got to see a lot of these key processes and all the things that we're going to dig into. And I'm kind of working you through my methodology of really, well, today is going to be all about pulling out that kitchen drawer, the one that's got a bunch of stuff in it, and really getting down to what needs to be done and some of the gaps that are in place. So that's my zone of genius. That's what I have been doing for a while. So, that's kind of, again, this training that we're doing, I'm like beyond excited because this is like my jam. But yeah, we've been doing this for years. And obviously Scott is, I'm going to like introduce you, but yeah, Scott is a LinkedIn, business coach for some of the top financial firms in the country, and actually works with a lot of business owners, coaches, a little bit of everyone, right? In all different professional fields to really crush it on LinkedIn. So we've been in this for a little bit.
Yep. And also, Kelly, if you're on right now, could you drop your registration link in the chat so Jesse's friend can sign up? So I don't want to inconvenience you, but we can't get out of the screen now. So if anybody has the registration link for the workshop handy, if you can drop it into the chat, Jesse's friend can get herself all registered. So again, the one big thing that we want to go over is we want to make sure that you're not being, the problem is people aren't organized in their businesses, and the top feelings that people have, you feel overwhelmed, you feel unproductive, you feel inconsistent. How many of you at some stage in your business, whether it's now or ever, how many of you have felt overwhelmed, unproductive, inconsistent, spinning your tires? Which of those speaks to you most? Do you feel most overwhelmed? Do you feel most unproductive? Do you feel inconsistent? With all the above. Yep. And again, we don't want to spin our tires.
Yeah. And you're absolutely not alone. And I kind of revisit this slide every single day because a lot of times we think, oh, I'm so organized or I'm whatever. And like, we keep hitting this wall, right? And every single entrepreneur, in fact, I see it, I call the dip or the little, I call it the dip. It's basically, you get all excited about running your business and then a month goes by and then another month goes by and then you are nothing but overwhelmed and you're unproductive and you're spinning your tires. But what I really want to dig into today is the difference between goals and actually implementing systems and organization in your business. Okay. Because we can set goals all day long, but if we aren't actually putting systems in place for our business, nothing is going to get done and we're not going to be consistent. So our goals throughout this training are for you to get organized, for you to help increase, your productivity, to help you be consistent and actually take that forward momentum. Okay. And we're keeping this as high level and as simple as possible. Okay. I say high level, but also we're going to get pretty micro. So obviously, as Scott mentioned, make sure to download the workbook. You've got a lot of stuff in there. And guys, I'm sorry, I could not cut it down. I know it was about 30 pages, but it's gold. It's something that you can absolutely print out and keep and have next to you and your business and things that you can refer to. So make sure to download the workbook and participate in the training. Again, even if you can't attend live every day, watch the replays, share in the group. Scott mentioned that we will be doing an FAQ session on Saturday. Drop some stuff in the Facebook group, as well. I'm happy to jump in and answer it throughout the day, all this week. And then make sure to do the work, right? Nothing happens if you don't take action. So we are here in this protected, time and space, Monday through Friday, for you guys to really dig in and actually take action. Okay. All right. Yep. And we already know what that is. All right. So no matter where you're at in your business, right, I always recommend, okay, and I've done this with, I can't even tell you how many clients at this point. The number one thing whenever I used to work with clients is before we would go forward and we would start to implement processes or get routines in place, we always had to take a step back and assess the current business.
So before we move on, this is the honest question, and I want you to type this in the chat box. When was the last time you fully assessed your business and where it is? So type in the chat box, when was the last time you sat down, mapped out where your business was? Was it a month? Over a year ago? Yeah. Today? Good. So the fact is that you have to be on top of your business all the time. Never a couple weeks ago, because again, without assessing where your business is currently, you don't know what bottlenecks you have. You don't know what holes and gaps are there. And obviously then you're looking to improve those things.
Yep. And absolutely. And we can't move forward until we assess where we're currently at. Okay. So this is exactly why we're doing this. All right. And we want to take a quick poll just to get a feel for where everyone is at in their business. Can you guys share in the chat box, what stage of business are you at right now? So are you beginner, 2 to 3 years, 3+ years? Awesome. Okay. So we've got a little bit of a mix, which is perfect.
A lot of beginners. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. So the other thing that I want you guys to drop, and this just gives me context so we can make this training even better each day that we're doing it. Drop in the chat box what you guys do. Okay. So drop in the chat box what it is that you do. Are you a coach? Are you a realtor? Are you a financial advisor?
Do you sell products?
Do you sell products? Do you sell services? Anything you want to share just to give us some context of what you guys do. So nice. We have a little array of coaches, freelance writer, realtor. Excellent.
Awesome.
So we've got a nice mix. Excellent. All right, you can go ahead to the next slide. All right. So no matter what stage you are in your business, and it's funny, I'm going to swap these words out, right? Functions and processes. But no matter what stage you are in your business, whether you are an expert, whether you are just getting started, whether you are a huge, gigantic business, every single business, and this is kind of one of those line in the sands kind of law, there are three main core functions and core processes in all business. Okay. In all businesses, right? So the first one is sales and marketing. Okay. And we're going to dive deeper into each of these. The second is operations. And then the third is, of course, financial, right? We got to talk about making some money. But what I want you guys to do, and this is something that I often do, right? Because when we start to really dig into all the like nitty gritty, all those little different things in your business, we can sometimes look at it and go, oh my gosh, there's so much that I need to get done. But really, what I want to do with this training is help you to take a step back and really take a bird's eye view of your business, okay? And make sure that you're able to identify in those three processes that I just went over with you, what different things that you really want to work on and what you want to do. And then the other thing that I want to mention is before we even go forward, right? And for those of you who are very beginner, or maybe you've been doing this for a couple of years and maybe you might have forgotten why you actually started this in the first place. Do you have a clear business vision?
Now, what we mean by a clear business vision is not just what you do. That's clear. But why are you doing it?
Where are you taking this bus?
What are your financial goals? Are you planning towards retirement at some point? What do you want to make per week? What do you want to make per month? All those things. So you have to have clarity around everything. If you're vague with your business vision, you're going to be vague with your goals, which also create vague results. So if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Good. Now, assessing your business. It's
so funny. We're dragging around the chat box because it's like covering up our words. So yeah. So anyway, so I actually have the slides printed out here. So you're going to see me looking down a couple of times. But I do want to give you guys a heads up, right? There's, again, always a reason why I do certain things. But in your workbook, you're going to see this little icon, right? This little yellow check mark. And there's a reason for that. And we're going to actually dig into that tomorrow when we dive in a little bit deeper, but you will see that next to some things in the assessment. So again, keep in mind that that's going to come into play tomorrow. So with businesses, and again, we're trying to simplify this, okay? We know that every business, like I just said, right, has operations, has sales and marketing, and has financial. So just to make sure that we're going to be able to get through everything for this training. Obviously, there's lots of different things you can throw under operations. And as you build out, right, there's going to be more and more things that you're probably going to do. But whenever I did this, I really wanted to narrow down on the ones that would probably matter the most for each and every one of you. Again, I know that some of you, sell products. Some of you have services. Some of you, I know I saw a couple realtors, for example. So it might be, different things that you offer than someone else. But I want you guys to apply this to your business and what it is that you're doing. So if you have to tweak the verbiage a little bit, or you maybe have to think a little bit more about what that looks like for your business, that's fine. But what we're going to do is actually take you through some of these questions on the assessment and just give you some different examples of what that might look like. Okay. So the assessment in your workbook is going to kick off with focusing on operations. Operations, in my opinion, right? It's kind of like the foundations. And especially as you're building out your business, you need to have product or service creation, right? So it all starts there. You need to make sure that number one, you've identified who you are selling to. Who is your ideal client? Okay. And even if, okay, and I'm going to keep touching on some of the different things that you guys do, even if you're a realtor, for example, have you identified who you're selling to? And if you're saying, oh, well, I'm selling to anyone, right, who might want to buy a house. Well, I challenge you to actually think a little bit deeper. For example, even with real estate, you can get niche and you can get specific, meaning maybe you're in your area and you want to focus just on buyers. Okay. Maybe you just want to focus on sellers. Maybe another thing, where I actually, was originally from, I was near a couple military bases. So maybe you work specifically or you specialize in working with military families. Whatever it is, I want you guys to really think and make sure that you have identified who you are wanting to work with and who you're actually selling to. Now, this next question in the assessment is one that I really think everyone should do. And Scott's going to kind of break this down a little bit for us is, do you have an hourly rate? Okay. And I know some of you are like, no, I don't have an hourly rate. That's not what I'm doing. I, do things differently. But I want to stop here for a second, because the one thing that we cannot get back is our time. Okay. That is the one thing that we can't turn back, and we can't make happen again. We can't get more of it. Okay. So Scott's going to kind of give us a little big picture overview of this. You're smiling.
How many of you have thought about what your hourly rate is? So type Y or yes or N or no. Now, I'm not talking about what you charge per hour, actually what you're making per hour, because it's one thing. So let me give you an example. If you have a business that, say, is making $1,000 a month, okay? So you're making $1,000 a month in a business. That breaks down to $250 a week. Now, so you're making $250 a week, but now you have to account for how many hours are you working to make that $250 a week. So if everybody is with me so far, drop a number 1 in the chat box. Now, if you're making $250 a week and say lowballing it, say you're working on your business, say 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day for a round number. So 4 hours a day, which is 5 days a week, that's 20 hours a week. If you're with me, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Now, 20 hours into 250 is $12.50 an hour. So that is just some basic math. So start thinking about right now what you are making per week or per month in your business, and then think about how many hours am I actually working per day, and what is that equating to in my business. So another example, if you want to make $10,000 a month and you're making $2,500 a week, and you're working 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 25 hours a week. You're making $100 an hour. So the one thing that you have to think about, thinking about that right now in all of your heads, are you happy with your hourly rate?
That was a lot.
So Y or yes or N or no, are you happy with your hourly rate?
You cannot say that word. Yeah. Hourly.
No.
Hourly rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes this just conversation for clients is a reality check sometimes.
Yep. It turns the mirror around, because you have to understand, if you're working, 5 hours a day, right? Even if whatever that number is, and you start to think about, oh my God, I'm making $10,000 a month, but I'm only making $100 an hour. I need to really work on either how much time I'm working on my business, because the less time that you actually work and you keep that money the same, your hourly rate goes up. So we just want you to start really thinking about, what is your hourly rate? You say it.
Hourly.
See?
Hourly. That is a weird one. All right. So anyway, so before we move on to the next slide, the other thing I want you to think about is, for anyone who is a coach on here, right? This is definitely like kind of a hot button, and I kind of want to give you guys permission for like a second, especially if you're newer. Okay. Hourly rate is one of those things where a lot of people go back and forth, and they're like, I don't know what to charge, and it's so confusing and whatever. You want to figure out your hourly rate, because you might be in a conversation, you might be connecting and engaging with someone, and they might say, hey, can I book you for like an hour session, or can we actually jump on a quick call? I did it the other day. Someone was a systems strategist, and I was like, hey, can I buy an hour of your time? And she was like, sure, here you go, and sent me an invoice. You want to be able to have that and fire it out very quickly. And the other thing that I did want to share with you as well, when you're starting out, choose a rate that you feel comfortable with. And as you build and grow, you can obviously build your confidence, you can get people value, and you can continue to raise that. But I want to make sure that you do make sure to figure out your hourly rate. Now, I'm going to do a really, just obviously, because this is on a video, I'm going to do a very simple equation, and you guys can write this down in your notes. To figure out your hourly rate, what you can do is write down, okay? You can write down the dollar amount that you want to make each year, okay? And this is a goal that we're going to set as well. It's not something that's going to be like boom, unless you obviously have a low one. But you can write down how much money you want to make in a year, okay? How many weeks? Number two, the next step is how many weeks do you want to work? Okay. So for example, if you want to take a couple vacations, you want to take a few weeks off, let's be realistic, right? Account for maybe some sick time and whatever. How many weeks do you want to work? Okay. So that's the next thing. The third thing is how many days a week do you want to work? Guys, full transparency, Scott and I work how many days a week? Three, right? That was our big goal last year. We were like, how can we only work 3 days a week, have Wednesdays and Fridays off, and be able to still crush it in our business? The other question, so the last one is billable hours each day. Okay. So how many hours are you going to actually have that you can charge each day? And what you're going to do is everything that I just went over, right? Again, that's the amount you want to make per year. That's how many weeks you will want to work. Okay. And then the third one is how many days each week do you want to work? And then the fourth one is billable hours each day. So for example, mine, okay, 3 days a week, and I wanted no more than 10 hours client facing each week. Okay. So that's just something to add, right? So I want you guys to write those down. And what's going to happen is you're dividing each one by itself. And eventually at that bottom, that's the number that you're going to come out with. So how much per year divided by how many weeks, divided by how many days, and divided by billable hours. Okay. That's the little hack. And I'll even share a quick video in the Facebook group to walk you guys through that, because I know that's one that pops up a lot. But again, where you're starting does not necessarily mean where you're going to end up. And even if you're hourly, you really, really want to make a certain amount per hour, it's okay to be something that you're working up towards, especially as a coach. I mean, I can't tell you how many times. Oh my gosh, Scott has raised his rates multiple times. But the thing is, oh yeah, Rochelle, I do have a spreadsheet. Thank you. I'll share that spreadsheet with you guys. I actually have a little calculator I created. But anyway, my whole point is Scott, had to work with multiple people and get people results and see what he did worked and know that he had so much value to provide to continue to raise his rates. What is your hourly rate now?
$3,000.
Yeah. So it took a while. Okay. It wasn't overnight, but he's at the point where he is very limited on the one-on-one time that he spends with people.
Well, and how it got to that, I started, it was only about maybe $250 an hour. And I people started getting result after result after result. And I think for me, what was happening was, people kept telling me, they were telling me, you're not charging enough. You're giving such value. This is so valuable. You're really shortchanging yourself. So I kept raising it. And then it got to the point where one of my clients ended up making about $1.5 million off of what I taught him. And at the time, he'd only paid me around, it was like, I think $1,250 an hour. $1,250 an hour. And at that point I was like, I just 1,000x'd, like he 1,000x'd his investment. So I need to but again, that took 6 years to get to that point. And the reason why I price my hourly rate where it is because I don't want a lot of front facing time. I want to make myself more unavailable.
Well, that's what a lot less people, right, are hiring him one-on-one. It's other things that we're doing in group trainings and, other stuff that we do. But of course, right, we got to be very specific on how much time that we want to spend and what we're working up towards. And I do want you guys to remember, and as we're going through this, I talk a lot with my clients about their 5-year goals. What is what you're building part of the plan? I've said no so many times just by keeping that in my mind. Is this part of my 5-year goal?
Yep.
I've turned down jobs in my own life, right? Because I'm like, is this going to be part of my 5-year goal? No. So I didn't quit my corporate job to work, 60 plus hours a week again. No, I wanted to work 3 days a week and I wanted to have flexibility. So that's what I'm doing. So that's what I want you guys to think about as you're kind of organizing and building out your business. So the next question that I dug in a little deep, right, for the assessment is, do you have a product or service to sell? And is it very clear what you do? Okay. I know that one sounds like a no brainer, but really, let's be real. Like if someone came to your page or your website or even your social media, is it very clear? The next is, do you have a value ladder of services? So again, this might depend on what it is that you're doing. If you're a coach, it is recommended having kind of like an entry offer that could be a single one-on-one session. Do you have a mid-tier and a high tier? Okay. So again, as you're starting out as a coach, maybe 1 month, 3 months, and a 6-month package, might be something to look into, or 6-session package.
And we just want your wheels starting to turn no matter what business you're in, just understanding the idea of operations, starting to really look at your business from a granular level, understanding that everything you do right now in the foundations of your business is going to either equate to your 3 to 5 year plan or not.
Yep, absolutely. And as you guys go through, because some of these slides are going to get crazy because I literally like smushed as many of the questions as I could on here just to kind of get through them. But I want you guys going through the assessment in the workbook, and I do want you to write notes. I want you to, check mark what you, did already complete. And I want you to circle, right, and highlight. In fact, I'm a huge fan of highlighters. So is Scott. Go through and highlight what it is that you might want to like put on the radar that you want to get built out in your business. Okay. The next things that you really think about are the okay. Yeah. So product and service delivery, right? I think a lot of us think about, oh yeah, we have all our packages, but how are you actually onboarding new clients? Do you have a welcome email that goes out? Do you have a contract for your services? Do you have a client intake form? Do you have an overview document of how you work with people? In fact, I just created that for my business. No lie, this year. And the feedback so far from new clients is phenomenal. In fact, they said, hands down, I've had so many people say, thank you so much for creating that. I can't tell you how many people I've hired or how many agencies I've hired, and I don't even know where to go and what we're going to do. But I actually had one of my team members build out a really cool overview document of how I work with people and what step-by-step looks like when someone hires me. So the next thing is continuing, right, with that client experience. Do you have a terms and conditions?
Now, some of these things may not be applicable to your specific business, but there are things that you can make applicable in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. So we just want you thinking outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, like realtor, right? What is your refund policy?
None.
No. Yeah. So again, next is, refund policy. How are you delivering amazing value to your clients? I want you guys to just think about that. In fact, I just watched a video, and I think it was like Warren Buffett was on there. And one of his tips, it was like the top, thing that he would share with business owners, what is something that they can really do to set themselves apart? And he said, wow your clients. Okay. So I want you guys always thinking like, how can you deliver, that amazing experience and that amazing value? How are you following up with clients, each day? And what are FAQs? That is not just thrown on there for no reason. What are the questions that you always get? I've identified so many bottlenecks in my business. Okay. Whenever I onboard, in fact, the onboarding document I just mentioned was created because I had so many clients say, well, what happens next? When is our next call? Like what happens, right? That was actually born from some of those FAQs. So I want you guys to think about, what are those common questions you might keep getting, right, with those people who want to work with you or might be working with you? Or maybe they're asking before they hire you. What are those questions? All right. And so the next thing is for administrative, right? And I, again, kept it very simple here is, do you have an online filing system? Okay. A lot of people ask me, do you prefer this or do you prefer that? Honestly, I love my Google Drive. In fact, I've used Google Drive for as long as I've had an online business. A lot of different options, there's Dropbox. A lot of people use that. But I absolutely love for an online file system, a place to keep documents, to keep shareable resources, important things about the business, all in my Google Drive. In fact, I even use it with clients. Whenever our clients upload videos that we need to get, I've got a folder for every single client and they upload it into their folder.
Now, just to let everybody know, if this is feeling like it's a lot, it's a little overwhelming, that's actually a good thing, because this may be probably one of the first times you've looked at your business this way, no matter what business you have. And that's a good thing, because it's only going to get easier each day that you do this. And this is why we always break this down into 5 days, because we like to layer everything one at a time. So again, as we go through these bottlenecks, as we go over the assessment of your business, it's only going to make the rest of the process of what we're going to take you through this week that much easier. So you just have to hang in there. And again, lean into the uncomfortable, right? Lean into the new side of how you're looking at your business. So if that all makes sense, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. That little feeling maybe in the pit of your stomach, that's a good thing. That's why you're here with us. We are here to take that stress and that strain and that overwhelm and all those things off of your plate. You're going to put it on us, and we're going to give you a clear path to run on by the end of this week.
Yep, absolutely. And of course I have hacks for the different ones, but I'm not going to go too deep with this today. But I will say, I'm back, that whenever it comes to organizing your Google Drive, if you've already been using it for a while, a little hack is add an archive folder. Because if you're scared to delete anything and you've been like cluttering it up and you've been adding a bunch of different things and it's a little out of control, add a little archive folder. And then what you can do is just drag all the stuff you're not sure about into that archive folder. So anyway, so the next question is, do you have an appointment calendar? In fact, I ask this all the time. I work with a lot of health insurance brokers, for example. And one thing that a lot of them are, new to doing is kind of doing some stuff on social media and putting themselves out there. And one thing I always ask is, if someone were to go ahead and book a call, or if somebody wants to actually jump on, a phone call and chat with you, do you have an electronic or an appointment calendar? And so that's usually something that we set up. And I personally love Calendly. I know Scott has used Acuity before. Calendly, I believe, does have a free option for a certain period of time. Yep. So Calendly is the one that I use. Again, it's
I like Acuity.
Preference. I like Calendly too, because you can set it up so it'll send out text reminders, so you get less ghosts.
So does Acuity.
Ghost calls. Okay. Well, either way. The next question is, do you have an email service provider? Okay, we're not just talking about Gmail. I'm talking about you're now ready to start growing your business and you want to start connecting and collecting leads through your email service provider. Okay. So this is not Gmail. This is actually an email service provider where you can create what we call, like a place to collect emails. We call it an opt-in form or a,
email list.
An email list. You can build your email list. So the number one that we recommend, and the reason why I recommend this is I am a big fan of, not spending any money for things when we don't need to. But one of the best free services that I have experienced is called MailerLite. Okay. And Scott's going to type that in the chat box. Again, MailerLite. And the neat thing is you can even build out sales pages. You can build out websites if you really wanted to for free using MailerLite. So it's really neat. A little bit of a learning curve there, but you're going to be able to send out newsletters each week. You're going to be able to create automations, meaning if somebody signs up for something, it can trigger a welcome email, such as when somebody hires you.
Yeah. And if you've ever heard of MailChimp or Constant Contact, it's much like that, but this is much more user-friendly and much more easy features to take advantage of.
Yep. Yeah. My top two I always recommend are ConvertKit and MailerLite. Those are the top two. So the next question is when are you checking your emails each day? Okay. So just think about that. And I put that in the assessment. I'm sure that guy has a little check mark next to it. But I want you guys to really think about that, because, you can't be checking your emails all day. That does not make you productive. I think it's best practice. And honestly, I think checking at least maybe 2 to 3 times a day and actually setting an alarm for that. That way you're not just sitting there and checking it all day long. And then do you have an autoresponder set up when you're away? In fact, guys, I had a huge breakthrough last Friday. So with BYB Social, our social media scheduling platform, we're away during the weekend usually. And what I did is I created an autoresponder with all the most frequently asked questions. We had 2 questions pop in over the weekend and it answered both questions that popped in from those particular people. So an autoresponder can actually be really, really great. And I even have a client that I work with. She has her autoresponder on all the time. It actually says, I received your message. I want to let you know that I check my email twice a day. So I will review this and I will get back to you, with next steps or whatever. So I love that too.
And no matter what business you have, if you are doing your business for business purposes, like you are official, you have big goals, you should have an email service provider at this point. You can do things through Gmail and Yahoo and all of those things up to a certain point. But when you really want to make what you're doing official, it's always great to have an email service provider because you collect all those emails. It's a way to stay in contact with those people in bulk ways. Yep. So really start thinking about that if you don't.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to cruise right through because I know we're just kind of going over. And for everyone who has joined us a little bit late or might be just jumping on, all I'm going through right now is those questions in the business assessment. All I'm doing is just kind of doing a walkthrough just to kind of let you guys know where my head's at as we're going through. Okay. So sales and marketing, right? That is the next core process that we're digging into, right? And in my opinion, it's one of the most important, right? Because if we don't have sales and we don't generate consistent leads, our business is going to dry up. Okay. So the three major things in there that we're going to focus on are social media marketing, lead generation, and our overall sales process, right? What is that journey actually taking a client from start to finish and working with us? All right. So I'm not going to go through every single question here. Again, I want to protect everybody's times, but I want you to think through what you'd like to set up for your business. Okay. And like I said before, these aren't things that you have to do, but these are recommendations based on, right, best practices and things when building out successful businesses. The other thing I want to reiterate, you got to make sure that people can hire you if they want to. I am like, and I'm not even kidding you, the majority of the issues whenever I first start working with someone and they're like, no one's hired me and blah, 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 I'll go to their social media and maybe I'll go to their Facebook personal page or something. There's nothing on there that even shares an inkling of what they do. Yep. And it's really hard. And I, as the client, shouldn't have to try really hard to figure out what it is that you do so that I can hire you. So make it easy for your peeps. Go through, do a little audit, right? Check out your social media and make sure that it is clear how people can work with you. The other thing that we're going to dig into is, do you have a content strategy? And immediately, right, whenever I say that, people go, oh, a content strategy, that sounds so like, overwhelming and whatever. I'm telling you, and actually I'm going to share this with you tomorrow, my simple strategy of how I actually look at the quarters and I break out and we just come up with different ideas for content. I promise you it is going to be nice and simple and you're going to have a content strategy if you do the work. The other thing is 3 to 5 content buckets, right? Topics that you provide value around, right? We shouldn't be talking about a bajillion different things. So do you have at least 3 to 5 rotating topics? All right. So many things, again, we're going to kind of move things along just for time. But the next thing in sales and marketing, lead generation, right?
So you have to see, where are you generating lead? What social media platform? What's the number of sales calls that you're having each day? How are you qualifying people prior to jumping on the call? Is there an intake form? Do you have time blocked out in your calendar specifically for these calls? So how many hours per day are you blocking off for those income producing activities where you're doing networking calls and potential client calls? Have you identified your power partners, those that you're going to network and collaborate with? And do you have some sort of referral network or affiliate program set up of how you're going to be doing business back and forth? So again, what Nancy and I are going through today are the different areas of your business that you may want to obviously take a deeper look at. Now, again, sales and marketing, the sales process. So again, what we went over, we have your social media marketing, right? So understanding your content buckets. Do you have time blocked out for social media? Do you have a scheduling tool? Everybody at this point And this is something Nancy I talked about this morning. If you are not using a posting platform to streamline your content creation process, you're losing a lot of hours. You can gain so much of your time back. Now, again,
Well, actually, just to touch on that, I just read a book and it was like the minimum expenses, you must have for your business. And the one that was pre-filled in was a social media scheduler.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
So lead gen, but also your sales process. So do you have a customer journey mapped out for the people that you work with? Do you have a sales process? So book a call, follow up, etc. What is your follow-up methodology? Do you have a sales funnel? If you have an online business, do you have a lead magnet? Do you have an email sequence? Are you nurturing those contacts? Do you have a sales page? So if someone wants to learn about what you do you have somewhere to take them? Do you have an email marketing plan? So again, focusing on the nurturing. Have you identified the top 3 most common objections? Is it money? Is it time? Is it third-party approval? All of those things. So let's go over financial. So this is your accounting. This is your budgeting. This is your reporting. But this is the one that people do not want to take a look at. It's the scariest one because, again, everybody has a different relationship with money. So have you chosen a business structure? LLC, S Corp? Have you registered your business? If you want more write-offs, no matter where you are, you should register a business. It costs like $250 depending upon what state you're in. Do you have a payment processor? So are you using PayPal, Stripe, Square? How are you able to receive money from people that want to pay you? Have you created a business checking and savings account? Obviously, there's a favorite book that we're going to go over that really helps you with that. Are you tracking your expenses? QuickBooks Online, it doesn't get any easier.
I actually just went through my QuickBooks Online the other day, and I can't tell you like how fun it is. I know this sounds ridiculous. The old me was that person that like hid and like didn't look at the finances. But using QuickBooks Online, it's directly connected to my business account. So I know exactly what's going in and exactly what's going out. I feel in control, which feels so good. And that's part of organizing your business.
So if this is becoming eye-opening to you guys, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. I mean, we're giving you, this is the meat, this is the guts, this is everything right now. I mean, if you want to grow a successful business, you have to get serious. You have to look at all of these things, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're a beginner, whether you're, a couple years in or you're 3+. So do you have your quarterly tax deadlines on your calendar? We do. Trust me. It's one of those things that we have to do. Now, your accounting. This is the book. We love this book. It's called Profit First. Yep. Leslie says, yeah, it is an incredible book. It just teaches you so much the strategy behind, your investments, the accounts that you need to have, 401k, Roth IRA, dividends, however you have your business structured. But Profit First is the accounts that you need to set up. So if you have not gotten and read this book or listened to it on Audible, 100% look at this book.
Yeah. And the tagline is take your business from a cash eating monster to a money making machine. And like, it's so funny because I had this book on Audible. And as I was listening to it, I actually went and opened up multiple business bank accounts that day.
So we have like 7 bank accounts.
Yeah. So we have a lot, but it's all, there's a purpose.
Now, here's the disclaimer. When it comes to finances, do not do the ostrich effect, which is burying your head in the sand.
Don't do it.
I know so many horror stories of people that were new into entrepreneurship and they had a banner year, but didn't plan for it. And they owed a ton of money in taxes.
Yep.
We meet with our accountant at the halfway point and just before the year end wraps to make sure that we're on par with our quarterly tax payments. Everything is set aside that needs to. We meet with our financial advisor to make sure the right deductions, all of those things. You can't ignore it. That's only going to make it worse. You have to lean in.
And this was something, again, and I'm sharing this with you because I know there's so many people out there who stress and are like, oh my gosh, like, it's all going to be okay. And it's all figure outable. In fact, my first business, which was a, remotely run residential house cleaning business, I got hit that first year in business with a tax bill I did not expect. And there is always a way to figure it out. There's a way, obviously, there's payment plans, all kinds of stuff. But whenever I actually met with, my business accountant, who I had to get a new one, and we started walking through things, as stressed as I was, in fact, I was making myself sick. He was like, Nancy, it's just numbers. Right. It's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, for anyone who's stressful and like freaking out and like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's okay. And I really advise you, lean in, look at what you got going on. Okay. Be realistic and then get a plan in place and wrap your arms around it. Because if you're really building a long-term business, right, that business that from 5 years from now is going to give you that financial, that flexibility, that time freedom, you got to run it on purpose, guys.
And full transparency, Nancy and I did not plan on having the financial year that we had last year. We had a goal last year, but we overshot it by multiple six figures. And I remember I was at Taylor's baseball game and I called Nancy and I was freaking out because we did very well last year, but we owed like multiple 5 figures of extra taxes. Now, here's the good thing. Following Profit First, we actually had accounts already set up where we were planning for the just in case I have to owe a little bit more money. There's money to slide over, and it was there. But I kept thinking about the old me that used to throw spaghetti at the wall, that if something like that happened, it was like that OSM moment, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So really getting yourself really organized and again, going over goals, right? If you're generating.
Well, and I think this is important too, guys. Like, as we're going through this slide, no one ever told me this, right? When I first started, and we wanted to give you guys, again, right, some goals to work towards. And I'm not saying, right, you aren't already there, or I'm not saying that you're kind of far off from this if you're new to building your business. But I want to at least give you some goals to work towards, because this is kind of getting that organization and really getting the wheels on your bus to make sure that you're building out your business for the long term.
So the rule of thumb is if you're generating between 1,000 and 4,000 a month, you need to have at least 3 months of expenses saved. Like literally, if something happened, you had 90 days worth of expenses covered if no other money was coming in. Now, if you're generating between 5 and 10K a month, you have to have at least 6 months of expenses saved, and it goes up and up from there. So you really have to plan ahead, take your head out of the sand, and really get organized in every facet of your business. And finally, budgeting. So what are your current expenses? What is your current monthly income? And are you currently making money? So when you look at your P&L statement, if you look at what the money you're spending compared to what you're bringing in, is it cash flow positive or is it cash flow negative? Again, something that we always go back to with Profit First. Now, the final thing is reporting. Have you created a calendar for you to review your profit and loss? Are you setting goals of reviewing your weekly, monthly, quarterly goals? Nancy and I do this all the time. And are you tracking what is going well, what needs to stop, and what you have to stop doing? We analyzed our business last year and we put line in the sand what we had to stop doing. And it was a lot of the front-facing active income. We wanted to focus fully on building passive residual income in our business so we can continue to create freedom, but also teach others how to do the same thing. So really understanding the reporting is really what's going to get you to where you want to be. So the saying, you have to slow down in order to speed up. So now it's time to take action. Now that we've literally lifted the veil, we want you to complete the business assessment. Now, it's going to take you some time. Some of you may, obviously do it a little bit quicker.
Well, I want you guys also just to circle things. You don't have to dive too deep.
Yeah.
Like where it says, do you know your expenses? You don't have to write out I just want you to circle it if it's something you need to dive deeper into. Okay. But I want you to honestly go through and give yourself a nice little high level business assessment. Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to identify the bottlenecks, gaps, the holes, the things that you need to improve immediately within your business. So you're going to choose the number one thing that you're going to work on.
Well,
So
and this is just for the homework.
For the homework.
We want you guys to pick the one thing that you're really going to dig into.
So you're going to do the entire assessment, but in the homework thread, it's going to say, what's the number one thing that you want to focus on? Is it budgeting? Is it organization? Is it sales? Is it marketing? What is that one big bottleneck that you have to get under control? And in Nancy's day one homework thread, it's going to say, comment below, what is the number one bottleneck that you are going to focus on, this week or in your business? So if everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat box. Also, before we jump off, drop into the chat box. What has been the number one takeaway from tonight's training? And just to let you guys know, this is for a lot of you that are here for a returning time or maybe a new time. This is unlike any training we've ever done. This is different because we want people to really set up their businesses in a profitable way, so they're working smarter and not having to work harder. So just as a reminder, homework thread is already pinned to the top of the Facebook page. You're going to drop your homework there. The replay link will be sent out tomorrow morning for you guys to watch back. But also, if you look in the guides section in the Facebook group, you can watch it back there. And again, your homework and the Instagram challenge just has to be done before 7:30 p.m. EDT tomorrow night. Now, if anybody has friends that they want to join, it's not too late. We're here for another 5 days. So what you can do is just share the registration link. And again, they can join. So just realize that just because they missed day one, the replays are available for the next 10 days after we're done. And that is until August 7th. So Nancy, what are we focusing on tomorrow night? Do you have that?
Let me see.
This is our workshop, right?
Yeah. So tomorrow is identifying what needs to get done each day. So today was all about pulling out that kitchen drawer, dumping it out. Okay, that's what today was. So if you're feeling a little like, oh, baby,
that's expected.
Okay.
That's expected.
Okay. And again, remember, you don't have to do all the things immediately. These are just suggestions of building out that business long term, which doesn't happen overnight. So give yourself permission there. But day 2 is, gosh, what did I just say? The verbiage, identifying what needs to get done each day. So what we're going to actually do is have a fun little brainstorming. This is kind of going to be a co-working session tomorrow. And I want to pull out of you guys what actually needs to be done and what can we put into a weekly and daily routine for yourself. Okay. So even if you guys are out there and you already have a little routine and you've created a little something, but maybe you've gotten off track because it is August, right? Almost. I'm already in August. So it's almost August. But anyway, right? Let's recalibrate. Let's get our arms around this and make sure we're including all the things in all those different processes that we mentioned in your business.
And the big thing is, if your business monetarily is not where you want it to be, there is a bottleneck. You just have to take the time to identify it. And once you do, it's game over. And that's why we're doing it this week.
Lead generation. I can't wait to talk about it because there's so many things that you could be doing each day, even in pockets of 20 and 30-minute times. We're going to give you guys ideas, suggestions. We're going to have a little fun with this. But I promise you, it's definitely going to be value added for your business.
So remember, the homework thread is going to be posted. Identify that one big bottleneck, and you're going to drop that in the comments, but take the entire assessment to help you get organized. So everyone, we hope you enjoyed day number 1. We will see you tomorrow night, regular time, 8 p.m. EDT tomorrow through Thursday, 5 p.m. EDT on Friday. And we have our bonus session Saturday morning, 11 a.m. for some brunch Q&A with Nancy and myself. So everyone, have a wonderful rest of your night. Love and gratitude.